So, welcome back to Faith in Frames.
Oh, sorry, I scooted my mug as soon as you said that.
Uh-oh. So,
Good morning.
good morning, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in life.
It's morning for us right now.
It is morning for us. Just wrapped up 2023. That's now in the rear view. Looking forward to 2024 and what all's in store. But we're gonna give you a dad joke because that's what we do.
Strong.
That's what we do.
Starting it off strong.
So, what car did the wise man drive to see Jesus?
I know this one already, so this isn't fair. They all arrived in one accord.
Yeah, they did. So it was a Honda Accord. All right. That's good. That's good. You knew that one.
I
so
did know that one, and that's probably one of my favorites. That's probably one of my favorite biblical dad jokes.
Not too bad. I like that.
One accord.
One accord. I mean, those suckers can go for $300K easy.
Yeah.
All reliable.
With proper maintenance.
With proper maintenance, yeah.
But with proper maintenance, anything will go a pretty good while. Most things.
Yeah, change your oil.
Unless it's like a PT Cruiser or something.
Yeah, those are not good.
And this is no hate towards PT Cruiser owners, but
it's a pretty crappy vehicle.
They don't have a good track record.
They don't have a good track record. I remember growing up, and those things, like the crash ratings came out for those.
Horrible.
They were evidently horrendous in the safety department.
You will die if you wreck in this thing.
Yeah.
We test drove a PT Cruiser whenever they first came out. My parents, for whatever reason, Dad loved the wood panel side.
Okay, now that's cool. It pays homage to some of the older.
Yeah, some of the old panel wagons. But we went and test drove one, and it was atrocious. Even as like a 10-year-old, I had no room in the back seat.
Yeah.
Again,
I'm
no hate
shocked
towards
that
PT
your
Cruisers.
dad entertained anything that wasn't a blue oval.
Hey, think about John
And
Deere
you go
too.
Chrysler?
Well, think about the even in the tractor world, Dad has been green and yellow his whole life, and now he has a slew of red ones to go along with it.
Massey's?
Yeah, whatever. I guess Dad has a wild hair every now and then.
Daggone.
But back in the day, I mean, he had a Nova Super Sport. He had the Trans Am, so he's been pretty eclectic in his.
Yeah, but
automobile
like
ventures.
once you get wiser and you pick a brand and you have loyalty there, that just shocks me that Ben would stray from his beloved blue ovals.
Which his driveway is basically a Ford dealership. If you've driven by their house anytime recently.
How many miles has that little Ranger got on it?
Oh man, it's tough to say because he's on the second odometer.
Oh,
It's not as high as you would think. Dad babies that truck.
Oh, okay.
But the odometer went bad, the original one.
Okay.
So it has a new odometer in it. So I really don't know.
Yeah.
I would assume it's going to be.
Is it north of 200?
Yeah, I think it's north of 200.
Dang.
But yeah, he babied it. It's a great truck.
Yeah.
It's been through me as a driver.
Oh,
Yeah, that was my high school vehicle. So,
nice.
yeah. Hey, we're fresh off the Christmas season.
We are fresh off the Christmas
Did you have a
season.
good Christmas?
Man, those
with your
times are,
family?
yes, but they're also really stressful.
Oh yeah,
For whatever reason.
Christmas is stressful for everybody.
And it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. I feel like the holidays should be a time where you just you reflect and you enjoy, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it's we are just so busy or what, but gosh, you almost breathe a sigh of relief when you make it through. Like you obviously enjoy the moments and you enjoy the time with family, but it is a lot. You got to go here, you got to go here, you got to go here, and then tomorrow you got to go here, here, and here, and so there's a lot of running, especially if you got kiddos, and it's just it can be a stressful time. But obviously, seeing the kids happy, seeing the kids opening their gifts, all of those things, that brings great joy to a parent's heart for sure.
It is. It's a stressful season. Again, though, the kids for me is the most exciting part. Hey, shout out to Liberty Free Will Baptist Church Youth Group Christmas program. Shout out to the adult program too. Nailed it. I think you were a part of the adult.
Yeah, we sang.
Yeah, you guys sang a
Sang a
couple
few
Christmas
songs.
tunes. Did a good job. I think our kiddos did a good job with their program. So we don't normally do gifts in my household. Me and Sarah don't.
No. Same.
We primarily focus on the kids. However, I do want to not boast, but I want to show you probably one of the most thoughtful gifts that I've received in the recent times.
Okay.
So my family presented me with this little guy right here.
Uh-oh.
Okay. They know that I'm pretty utility in my daily carry of blades.
For all of you audio only folk, Garrett has pulled out a knife.
I pulled out a Kershaw, and it's not just any Kershaw.
Yeah.
This is a Kershaw that has been engraved with my children's handwriting.
Now, which one wrote that?
Cole and Kate. So yeah, correct me if I'm
cool.
wrong for the camera. There's the engraving.
Nice.
Yeah, so for all of you audio only, it's Kershaw engraved with the word Dad written by my eldest and my middle child. I think, if I remember correctly, my wife can scorn me if I'm wrong. I think Cole did the D's and Kate did the A.
Yeah.
So they kind
I
of
could see
split
that.
efforts on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very thoughtful. They know that I use a knife every day, and they just wanted me to have a little memento of them whenever I'm slicing things.
So I actually have the one thing that I like about Kershaw's.
Ooh, that's a
is
Kershaw too.
The
Jared
quick opening.
Yep, the speed safe.
The
speed safe open. Let's give it a quick.
the old index. Mine
good
has
sound,
been
too.
well used. It is now a flathead on the end because
Yep.
it broke the tip.
Yeah, yours is turning into a multi-tool slowly.
Yeah, it wasn't designed that way. But
Hey,
through usage,
it happens. Again, not bragging, but I was almost in tears when they sent me that. I was like, or when they gave me that. That was very thoughtful of my family.
and you will certainly use it. So yeah, just
Oh yeah, I've already killed many a boxes with it.
there you go.
It will kill.
There you go. So this is the new year. We are now in 2024.
Season 2.
Season 2 of Faith in Frames. So we're going to talk about basically a year in reflection, and we'll talk about our favorite episodes and some moments from them, and just general enjoyments that we got from the podcast. But first, let's just thank our sponsor.
Yeah, as I'm over here double fisting caffeine. Got coffee and rain. Today's episode 1 of Season 2, 2024, is sponsored by Animals West of Greenville, Tennessee. At Animals West, your pets are our passion. Our dedicated team offers personalized care, advanced treatments, and a warm, loving environment. Because in Animals West, every tale tells a story. Visit Animals West today. Tony, Amanda, the crew down on the Newport Highway. Thank you for sponsoring Faith in Frames. Thank you for sponsoring me and Jared here at Motion Creative Media. We appreciate you guys. Folks, take your felines, your canines, your equestrians, your bovines, maybe not all those, to Animals West today.
Yeah.
Jared,
Go check them out.
meat and taters. Get us into the meat and taters. You said we're going to do a little bit of reflection today. What are we reflecting on?
Well, so this is something, and when I say this, I'm referencing the podcast. This is something that you and I have talked about for, honestly, a couple years.
We talk about a lot of things, though.
Well, but we've mentioned doing, and we've wanted to do a podcast for a long time. Through a poll on social media that you can no longer do because Facebook took it away for whatever reason.
Thank you, Meta.
It was heavily skewed in people encouraging us to do a podcast.
For whatever reason.
So that was just kind of the push, I guess, that we needed to just get off the couch and do it. So yeah, it's been great. I knew I wanted to do a podcast and you wanted to do a podcast, but I don't know that either of us could have foresaw the enjoyment that we would get out of it.
No, certainly not.
But I really enjoy every time we sit down in front of these microphones and hit record and do a podcast.
Yeah.
Again, we mentioned early on, I think maybe in episode 1, our goal with it was to educate, but
Still is.
also to entertain and let people kind of in on who we are as people, right? You know, obviously, if you work with us, you see us as, the production team, the people running the camera, the people doing the editing, all those things.
The film crew.
Those have dehumanized elements to them, and we wanted to essentially use this podcast as a vehicle and a platform to let you know, I know these are humans, and really just kind of let you know who's behind the camera.
Yeah. Real dudes.
And
in the
I've
flesh.
thoroughly enjoyed that. So the really cool thing, when you start anything, especially these days, growth is generally going to be slow.
Yeah.
You start a YouTube channel, you're going to get minuscule views first off. You're starting a new account on social media. Your followers are going to be slow to trickle in, views, all of those things.
They all start at 0.
Everybody starts at 0. Period. Everybody starts at 0, and it's going to, short of you being the exception in virality,
Yeah.
which is very much an exception these days. Short of you being or going viral, it's going to be a slow grow. And we knew that going into this podcast.
Yeah.
But the thing that is very important, especially in the early days, and really just in general, I would encourage anyone with any channel size or anything to drop the metric as being viewed as a number. Because it's really easy, because of all the analytics, to concentrate on it and seriously just see it as a number. But no, that's a human. That is another human on the other side of that phone, tablet, computer. Whatever, interacting with something that you created. And specifically with our podcast, we had, I believe, 13 episodes in season 1, right? A weekly episode from when we started. 855 plays as of today.
Almost 900.
Almost 900 plays. So that means almost 900 people, some repeats, but whatever, chose to tune in and listen/watch what we were saying.
Yes.
And so I don't know. It's just, it was when I was tallying up those statistics at the end of the year, it was just humbling, I guess. You know, I was like, golly, man, that is awesome. You picture 855 people in an auditorium or whatever.
On a street corner.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of folks.
Now, it can obviously get discouraging too. Like if you look at it strictly on a per episode basis or whatever, when it's starting out, again, growth's going to be slow.
Yeah.
So you're going to see small numbers. Really, just keep in mind, like for instance, if you get a YouTube video and it gets 30 views, imagine 30 people in your living room. Literally imagine 30 human anatomies in your living room. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and your living room is probably going to be cramped at that point in time.
Yeah.
I think one thing, too, that helps me with the numbers, because obviously with what we do, the numbers are important to a degree. We all have to have analytics.
Can't ignore them.
Right. You can't ignore them, especially on a platform like YouTube. I mean, analytics literally help you position yourself with content.
Yep.
However, I think the thing for me, because there have been moments in time, even with the podcast, as much as we love doing it, there have been moments in time where discouragement tries to creep in and say, nobody's listening to this thing. You're not actually making a difference. But then that little human element always comes back. We had somebody reaching out. We had a listener reach out, and we make the joke that, we're just two dumb dudes who somehow stumbled up in...
Two dudes with a podcast.
Yeah, two dudes with a podcast. But this person reached out, and you know who you are, and we're very thankful. But I said, you're not just two dudes. Sometimes the things that you say do actually resonate.
Yeah.
And for me, that really, again, brought back the human element of no, these listeners are not just numbers. And we've never considered them just numbers.
No.
Especially when they do come up to us in person. So I think, YouTube will try to discourage you with low counts at some points in time.
Oh, yeah.
Spotify, same way.
Yep.
But when a real human comes to you in person in life,
right,
to me, that's what has made it worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Even though, technically have only been 13 episodes in, this is number 14,
right,
or episode 1 of season 2, but still the 14th recording. To me, makes it worth it when that human element comes back in and somebody just says, no, that kind of did help me a little bit. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
That's what it's been all about.
If you lose sight of the facts and the context of that number being a human, then you're going to get discouraged. You're probably going to quit. Actually, fun fact, evidently, I don't know the percentage. I've forgotten the percentage, but a vast majority, I believe it's near 80% of podcasts, never make it past episode 10.
Wow.
And
we're winners.
Well, hey, we've at least made it past
winners.
that. I really think that has to do with those metrics, though.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination. I think a lot of people maybe don't understand, like, what all goes into a podcast.
It's a lot of work.
You know, and
It can be.
you can do it video, you can do it audio only, but even still, I mean, there's some work to it. And two, the other thing that a lot of people I think maybe don't realize is it's no different than someone who grew up playing sports. If they are asked to commentate or help with a broadcast of a local high
yeah.
school sport or something, they're like, "Shoot, yeah, man, I played sports all my life.
I was a star athlete.
This will be like a cakewalk."
Yeah.
But then they find out, like when it's actually time and you're on air, it's live, etc. It's not that easy to fill the air literally with something
Yeah,
worth
when you've got
value.
to constantly talk and have conversation, it can get tough at times. Thankfully, I think me and you are both pretty good at just listening to ourselves talk back and forth. So it's been fairly easy for us to hold a conversation. But yeah, it's a lot of work, and I don't want to downplay that. We could probably simplify things for sure. Me and you like to go overboard on a couple of things, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the process.
Yeah.
I enjoy the process of podcasting. It's fun for me.
Well, and I think to round that initial statement out of why people maybe don't make it past the 10th episode, why episode 11 never exists for so many podcasts, is also it's really discouraging because you learn how much work it is.
Oh, yeah.
You see how difficult it can be for some people, etc. Top that off with low view counts, low listens, low plays,
In the beginning.
and it's a recipe for discouragement if you don't keep sight of that being a human.
Yeah. If you let it be discouraging, it will be. But again, I think the real life application of just somebody reaching out to say, keep going, guys.
So
to me, it's worth it.
That actually brings me to probably my favorite episode from the short season of season 1.
Yes.
I believe it was episode 10. But that episode actually spoke very little about media, cameras, or photography or anything.
Services, yep.
It was more of celebrating small victories.
Yep.
And I believe
That was a good episode.
I believe
I think
the reach out that you're referencing came on the heels of that episode.
it did. It actually did.
So that person heard that episode, felt inspired, encouraged, whatever, felt the need to reach out to you. And so, yeah, that episode, probably in the rear view, was probably my favorite. And the reason why, I love talking about cameras. I love talking about photography. I love talking about video.
Yeah.
All of those things. But that one, we didn't mention that at all. It was more of the human element, and it dealt with, I think it maybe resonated with more people because, we mentioned celebrating small victories.
Yeah.
And
That transcends past a camera.
yeah, forget the cameras. Humans of all kind, walks of life, can resonate with that and relate to that. So that one was really fun because we didn't do any educating there, in the technical sense of what we do.
Although I did issue a challenge, and I hope folks followed through with that. I know, again, another person reached out saying that they were going to indulge in that challenge, but writing down those little victories and writing down, you did too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
In the little field notes. Nice.
Carry this little guy with me everywhere.
Attaboy. But yeah, we did issue a challenge to write down those small victories and write down things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
I think that's important to do daily, weekly, monthly. I certainly try to do it every night before I go to bed. I even if I've had a crap day, I try to write down things that I'm grateful for or things that I'm thankful for from that day. There's nothing wrong even with just general reflection of what could have made it better. I know one of my statements at the end of the day that I write down is, okay, even if today was good, what would have made it great?
Okay. Yeah.
So always leaving a little room for improvement. But yeah, that episode was interesting because it transcends past photo, video, and I think it does. It hits folks just on the human side of things.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world right now that's pretty dang near depressing at times. Can be.
So I saw a statistic from a guy who we're both friends with on Facebook, actually this morning.
Yeah.
He's reading a book, and it has to deal with, I believe it's called dechurching or something like that.
Yes.
I read some of the statistics because he's not through the book yet, but he saw several statistics at this point. And it was a large percentage of people who have quit the church.
Yep.
All said they would go back if they had some sense of belonging.
Yes.
So that's something that I think is really important is we, and I think it's a terrible byproduct of social media. We only put out the best all the time.
Yeah.
It think about the family photo,
Oh man.
the Christmas family photo.
Yeah, the one that actually makes the print.
well, the one that actually makes the print,
Not
the one.
400 that got taken of kids screaming and crying and boogers everywhere.
Oh, that's even yeah. I mean, that's once you actually start hitting the shutter button.
Yeah, but
I'm
on
talking
the trip there.
the trip there.
We're screaming
We
and cussing each other.
all know what happened behind the doors, right? Behind the scenes.
Right.
But guess what everybody sees on Christmas morning?
Beautiful Christmas
That
photo.
beautiful Christmas photo. Everybody's smiling, hopefully. Happy. But that's
Hopefully.
that's truly not.
Yeah.
And so that's just one event. We're just fresh off of Christmas, so that's why I bring that up. But
It's just like in your car's side mirrors, it says objects in mirror may be closer than they appear, which means everything is not always as it seems.
Yeah. Because it's not.
Because it's not.
Because we're only putting the best on social media.
So you might see the happiest picture in the world, but behind that picture on social media might be a very sad person. And that has been, I believe, one of the reasons for a massive exodus, not only in church, but just people like going through life.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people give up on life at times because they don't have a sense of belonging.
That happens in church a lot. I mean, literally, it's the Christmas photo every Sunday. I mean, it really is. You walk through the foyer, you walk into the lobby of the church, happy. Never mind the fact that everybody was just kicking and screaming the entire ride there.
yeah.
Kids were, I mean, circus, right?
Yep.
Parents are arguing with one another because it's stressful. It's this, it's that, it's whatever. You walk in, it's how are you? Oh, we're blessed.
Yeah.
Oh, we're great.
Forget the sailor language we were just slinging at each other on the way.
Yeah, I mean, whatever took place is not going to make it into that intro.
Yep.
And you dang sure aren't going to let someone at church
Yeah.
know that
You've got problems.
everything wasn't all hunky-dory. So that, I think, is really why that particular episode is probably my favorite. Because
We all have challenges.
we all have challenges, but it speaks to the importance of remembering and celebrating, being aware of the small victories.
Yeah.
Because those victories stack up, those small wins stack up, and just being aware of them, it has great
It has positive impact.
benefits
Yeah, it has positive
to
impact.
life.
That was a good episode. That was one of my favorites. I can't copy you though, so I'm gonna pivot to another episode that I was a fan of.
Right.
Our episode with Melissa, I thought was very fun, and all of our guests have been fun.
Yeah.
Thus far, and I'm excited for the guests that we're going to bring on this year. Melissa's was fun though because she is a perfect example of somebody who she grew up and it was very photography centric, so that was right up her alley. But she grew up with that core memory of her dad Terry, always with the camera.
Yeah.
Always capturing memories. And I think it's important, and this is an episode that I know we're going to do in the future, but the power behind saving those moments, saving those memories, I think those kind of go hand in hand with even like the small victories.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things to do is reminisce on photos of my family. And what's cool about those is I can take myself back to the moment that I took that photo. And again, as crappy of a day as I might have been having, I see a picture of my family. I see a picture of my kids, whatever they were doing. And it instantly takes me back to that little moment of joy that they were having.
Right.
Not knowing that dad was crumbling on the inside because he's got the pressure of the world on him. But that was a fun episode. And again, just a reminder to capture those memories. I saw a post on Facebook from one of my friends that had stated somebody made fun of like the dad or the mom that always had the camera.
Yeah.
And so you're not living in the moment if you always have a camera out.
Some truth there.
A little bit of truth, but I also would add that I want to be able to recall that moment.
Yeah.
There may be a moment in time in my olden age or even in my youngin age with my noggin and the shape that it's in where I
Trauma.
won't actually remember that.
Not that specific moment.
Right, not that specific moment, but a moment frozen in time.
Yep.
That photo, whether it be a print on my phone or wherever, I don't even care if it's taken with one of our cameras, even on a phone, takes you back to that moment.
Yeah.
And helps remind you of the time that was going on. Again, whether that time was a good time,
Yeah.
whether that time was a bad time, especially if it's a photo of my kids.
Right.
I know they were having a blast.
Yeah.
Regardless of how I was feeling. So that was a fun episode for me. And again, just a reminder to, hey, it's okay to keep that camera ready to go.
We don't have time to unpack that today.
That'll be another episode.
Honestly, I can make a great argument that photography is superior to, or photo is superior to video. On the surface,
those are fighting words at times.
Listen, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I believe photo is more powerful than video, strictly on the thought side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use more of your memory and your imagination to get back into that moment. Whereas, a video is a collection of photos, essentially, and you'll see that moment unfold in video.
True.
But with photo, it is that specific second frozen. And so one of the coolest things that we have at our house is one of those digital frames.
We got those for our in-laws and for my parents for Christmas this year.
They are awesome
Yes.
because rather than having a singular photo, you can put however many photos can be stored on it. And right, so it's just a revolving thing. And to your point earlier, you may not have remembered that moment. Mm-hmm. You remembered it. It's in there. It's
you don't
not
remember
lost.
what was going on, though, until you see it.
Yeah, until you get that refresher. I've seen so many pictures of my kids in their younger ages, and I mean, we're only 1 and 3, so
Right.
but even earlier in their lives, I'm like, gosh, I forgot how short her hair was, or the other cool thing is Reese's memory is incredible. She can see a photo. For instance, there's a trip that we took to Hilton Head. She can see a photo of her, very small, like barely over a
Baby
year,
Reese.
and my wife, and say she can recall everyone who was on that trip.
Yep.
They're not even in the photo, but that triggers a memory from her.
Yeah.
And so, photos, man, take the photo. But more importantly, do something with the photo.
Yeah.
Print it.
Yep.
Put it on a digital frame because that's a reminder. I mean, ours literally sits underneath our TV. So like as we're watching TV, it's popping up and one of us will make a comment about it.
Yeah.
Versus it being on your phone.
Where you're never going to see it unless you're randomly scrolling.
And those obviously have value. But man,
those digital frames are fun. Again, we got one for Sarah's parents and one for my parents for Christmas. And the cool thing for me is, so my parents don't get to take a lot of trips with us.
Right.
Obviously, they're older and health reasons, et cetera, et cetera. But the fun thing for me that I'm excited for this year is whenever you upload, because you upload through the app to that digital frame, it gives them a notification.
Yep.
I'm so excited for them to get those notifications throughout the year from things that, they can't be at or, schedule-wise, whatever, cannot attend.
Right.
But those little notifications, again, will give them a glimpse into those happy moments from their grandkids. I think it's fun. I think it's cool to see stuff like that. But again, going back to Melissa, that was a fun episode. Melissa, she's got a great business model going on.
Agreed.
Clapping for her and wishing her the best in 24 as well as all of our guests. Justice, Preston, Melissa, Brandon, Emily, everybody that's been on thus far, wishing them all the best in 24. But Melissa was fun. She's got a good model, and again, she is a prime example of how photography in her youth helped shape her. Helped shape her in her career and her personal life, because that girl, she takes a million pictures of her family.
Oh, yeah.
On Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I saw a picture of Claire, her daughter, with her new puppy.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it's cool. Again, that's a happy moment,
right.
A happy memory that she'll be able to look back on with Claire one day and say, do you remember that puppy? Long after that puppy's dead and gone.
Well, here's the fact: those two will never be that size and that age again.
Right. Right.
So you capture it, then you freeze it, essentially, and then you can look back upon it. And you're like, oh, look how cute he was.
Yeah.
Or man, I did not realize my hair was that curly, or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Right? I mean, Jamie Johnson said it. You should have seen it in color. Okay. Well, so that, I mean, there's merit to that, and being a photographer, I understand that. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's another topic. Gosh, I could dive into black and
Again, I
whites.
don't want to get too deep into the power of photography today because
I don't.
it's an episode all its own. But that was second to the Small Victories episode. For me, was Melissa's episode because we all three understood the power of it.
Right.
I want to save that though, so we'll shelf that.
Yeah.
We'll shelf that. Do we have any other recollections from season 1 that we want to bring up? Any core memories from season 1?
So I mean, honestly, just the big thing for me is just looking back at it and just being thankful that people encourage us to start.
A heart of gratitude we have.
Absolutely.
Hearts of gratitude.
I'm just thankful that folks encouraged us. We took that encouragement and did it. And it's been a big blessing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a highlight, and so it's also an escape.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's cameras, obviously there's microphones, so it's still what we do, but it's not a paid production for a client where there's deadlines, etc.
Right.
Stresses with it. It's such a stress-free thing for us, and it's just an outlet where we can be creative, we can be the goofy dads that we are, and hopefully people continue to tune in.
Right. Hearts of gratitude on Faith and Frames here in episode 1. I do want to ask our audience a question. So if you guys have any recommendations as far as guests go for the podcast, send them out. I would love to see maybe some names that we could have on this podcast. We have a few already lined up.
Yeah.
But obviously we have a whole year to fill.
Sure.
I would love to know what our audience thinks. What would you guys love to hear? I talked to my wife before recording this episode on maybe some things that she wanted to hear in season 2. So we'll start diving into those as the year progresses. But to our audience, if there is a subject matter, a guest that you would like to have on, let us know, and we'll try to arrange that. It can be a small business owner, can be a large business owner, can be a friend, can be a preacher. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would love to talk to as many people as we possibly can. Actually, one of our really, really near future episodes, we'll be talking to another person in our industry.
Yeah.
A little bit different niche.
Yeah.
A little bit different niche, but still in the photo video industry. But he is kind of changing the game with what he does.
Right.
In his niche. I'm excited for that here in the near future. But yeah, let us know if you have any requests for guests.
I mean,
subject
honestly,
matter, whatever.
Some of my favorite guests, at least in regards to the meat and potatoes of the episode, weren't even people who pick up a camera.
Right.
We got to, I mean, we always kind of roped it back into content and media, et cetera, but like it was really cool to hear their perspective and get to pick their brain there. So, yeah, certainly doesn't have to be, an industry professional to make it on the guest list of Faith and Frames.
Yeah, if you want to submit your resume, the application process is pretty simple. There are no tryouts. You've made the team.
Bingo.
As our choir director says at church.
Right.
Just let us know.
Yeah.
Want to give you guys things that you want to hear as well.
Right.
To our audience. So if something that we've said has sparked an idea for a guest, reach out. You can message us on Facebook, Instagram, personal message, whatever. Email.
We'll answer one of them.
We'll answer something. Probably Jared. Garrett is horrible with digital responses. I'll go ahead and throw that out there. I know you know that, but our audience needs to know that. Jared is the best digital responder in the world. I'm probably the worst.
I wouldn't go that far on either of those fronts. Those are both very extreme assertions there, but yeah, we'll get you responded to.
Also, Jared, our listeners have a favor, I'm going to say, that they can do for us here on Faith and Frames. I know we talked about it in season 1. I'm going to continue the favor request in season 2. What are a few things that our audience can do for us, Jared?
Yeah, so one thing that we really enjoy doing, specifically on YouTube, is we enjoy the comments. We read every single one of them. And those provide so much value to us, even if it's a troll of sorts, like Emily mentioned on her episode. Yeah. That's a whole thing to unpack in its own. But yeah, comment, leave us reviews, like us, all of those things.
Stars and bars. we
Stars
say.
and bars. Those pieces of feedback really help us know what you want to hear,
Or what you don't want to hear.
or absolutely. So
We're
I
fine with
keep
either. Love us, hate us, let us know.
I keep going back to my IT days when users would tell me, "Hey, this has been going on for 2 weeks," and I will literally always tell them, "It's like, look, I can't fix a problem that I don't know exists." So it's the same thing with reviews and feedback. Like if you notice something that's not good or whatever, let us know, and we'll do our best to,
Yeah, we'll try to fix it.
address that.
We will try to fix
we
it.
can't change things that we don't need changing.
Bingo.
I'm going to take the Lil Wayne approach. If it ain't broke, don't break it. That's how he said it.
What a
in
great philosopher.
one of his songs. Yeah, old Dwayne Carter.
The great philosopher.
But yeah, seriously. So this is the first episode of 2024.
We're stoked.
Stoked.
Thankful.
Season 2. We really from the bottom of our hearts want to say thank you for listening. And we're excited for
Camera. That's a horrible heart.
That's something. Use your
That's a horrible
imagination.
attempt at a hand heart for all of you audio only listeners.
Just super thankful and
Appreciations.
appreciations.
Jared, here's the hard part.
No, it's not. We're just going to say bye.
All right.
We'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you.